For 3 decades, Johnny Carson was the undisputed king of late-night television. From 1962 to 1992, The Tonight Show starring Johnny Carson was America's nightly ritual, a place where stars were made, reputations were built, and awkward interviews became legendary. Carson had a gift for making even the most nervous guest feel at ease. But every now and then, someone would sit across from him and rub him the wrong way. And there's one guest, a name you'd never expect, that Johnny Carson truly, deeply hated. When you think of Johnny Carson, you think of class, charm, and razor-sharp wit. He knew how to handle big personalities, from Frank Sinatra to Muhammad Ali, with grace and humor. But Carson had a low tolerance for arrogance, disrespect, or anyone who tried to upstage him on his own stage. And that's exactly what happened one fateful night in the 1970s, when an up-and-coming comedian sat down and made the biggest mistake of his career. The guest was Bobcat Goldthwait, a then-rising comic known for his bizarre, high-energy style. At first, Carson tried to play along, offering polite smiles and quick jokes. But Bobcat's erratic behavior spiraled quickly, interrupting Johnny mid-sentence, cracking inappropriate jokes, and even mocking Carson's delivery. The audience laughed nervously, but Johnny's expression told a different story. Behind the cool demeanor and the professional smile, Carson was seething. According to crew members, the moment the cameras stopped rolling, Carson turned to his producer and said flatly, "Never again." But Bobcat wasn't the only one to draw Carson's quiet wrath. Behind the scenes, there were whispers about other guests who found themselves quietly blacklisted from the show. The legendary comedian Don Rickles once joked that you could tell if Carson liked you by whether you were invited back, and if you weren't, it usually meant you had crossed a line you didn't even realize existed. What made Johnny Carson so unique and so feared was his ability to control the room without ever raising his voice. When he disliked a guest, he didn't lash out. Instead, he'd let an icy silence fill the space, leaving the guests squirming in their seat while millions of viewers at home watched. It was subtle, but devastating. People in the industry called it the Carson freeze, and it was the death knell for many a Hollywood hopeful. One of the most infamous examples came during an interview with Joan Rivers, Carson's longtime friend and frequent guest. When Rivers accepted her own late-night show without giving Carson a heads-up, he felt betrayed. She was never invited back, not once, for the remainder of his career. To this day, people close to Carson say that betrayal cut deeper than any other professional slight he experienced. And yet, despite the tension and occasional grudges, Carson maintained an almost mythical level of professionalism. He knew the power of his platform and rarely abused it. But when someone pushed too far, when they disrespected the stage he built, Johnny made sure they never forgot who ran The Tonight Show. Looking back, the beauty of Carson's legacy is that most viewers never saw the anger simmering beneath the surface. They saw the charming host, the perfect timing, the laughter that could disarm even the biggest egos in the room. But those who worked behind the scenes knew better. They knew that Johnny valued respect above all else, and that if you crossed him, your career in late-night television might quietly vanish overnight. So, who was the guest Johnny Carson truly hated? The answer is more than just a name. It's a lesson in the quiet power of respect. On a stage where everyone wanted the spotlight, Johnny Carson reminded the world, night after night, that The Tonight Show was his house. And if you disrespected the king of late night, there were no second chances.